back to neutral.
Yeah.
$100 million
Yeah.
from Latifi's family, $100 million in crashes.
The weirdest part is the starting part. Honestly, it's like the whole it's like the things you have to do for YouTube. Exactly.
Subscribe.
All right. Hey guys, this is Kade with Kade F1, and today I got a special guest, my friend Gage. He's a big F1 fan, just like myself. He's been. I'll let you kind of give an introduction to yourself in a second, but today we're going to talk about a little bit about the Miami Grand Prix. Being Americans ourselves, we have a few opinions. We got some opinions about it, and we're probably gonna just talk about the first quarter of the season as well. We're 5 races in at this point, and so I think this is a good point to talk about the new cars, the new regulations, and kind of what we think about it. So, Gage, do you want to give like a quick background on like how you got into F1?
Yeah. So okay. I got the mic now. Yeah. So I started watching F1 in 2015 season was my first season watching. So the beginning of the Mercedes dominance.
Big Lewis Hamilton fan, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we might get into that about why, but no, it was I just have always had an interest in cars, and grew up like working on dirt bikes and stuff like that. So it was just natural for me to get into racing, and glad that I got to see it before it got like super popular.
You're a hipster.
I'm a hipster for sure. Yeah. But yeah, and Kate and I went to the Austin race together.
We did.
So that was a fun time.
Dude, I hope it wasn't a one-off. Like I hope it wasn't, because I had such a good time at that race that I hope that when I go back, it's not like a disappointment.
You're not like, oh, not
because it was. I mean, and that was after COVID. Yeah. So obviously there was like a little bit more excitement in the air. But yeah. So that Austin race was 400,000 people over the entire weekend. Yeah. That was.
Helps going with good people.
Yeah.
If you're just there like with people that don't know F1, then I can only assume it's not very fun.
Well, no, because it was miserable sometimes, like sitting in that sun.
Yeah.
But it was like, I say miserable, but like we had a good time the entire time. But like after, so you were down on like turn 11. Was that turn 10 or turn?
I don't remember.
You were just like way far away from turn 1. Like we were at turn 1.
Way away.
We walked like a mile and a half to you.
Yeah.
And then, but I don't know if I told you this, but to get to our car was like basically like
it was the other way.
It was like a 15-minute walk from turn 1.
Yeah.
And so from where you were at, we didn't walk back through like the track. We like went out to the service road and then walked out. So it took us like 45 minutes to an hour to get back to our car.
We're exhausted. I think I remember you texted me and be like, dude, we're exhausted. Like,
yeah, it was bad. Dude, I was just like drained. Yeah. But anyways, that was last season. Max won. My guy, Max. Yeah. Your boy, Lewis. Lost. It really not his fault. Yeah. Really not his fault. Yeah. I think luck went both ways that entire season. Max had some pretty unlucky spots, and Lewis was just unlucky when it mattered the most, I think. Yeah. And so I don't think either driver necessarily was better. Maybe I agree. I think Max was maybe a little bit more consistent at the beginning of the season. And then Lewis turned it on, obviously. Dude, I don't know what Mercedes did to that car at the end, but like...
I don't know. They had some upgrades. They definitely had some upgrades in the latter part of the season last year.
Yeah. But so that was the end of last season. And then coming into the season, there was so much hype. And, the problem with the past cars was that they couldn't race together. They couldn't race close together. And, but for me, that's all I've known. And so I'm sure for you too, like 2015.
That's all I've known.
Yeah. So they already had DRS at that point. Like the cars from 2015 to 2021 to last year weren't that different, right?
I mean, it was, we were in the same era. And I mean, the cars were, I will say prior to you starting to watch, there was a short period of time where Ferrari was pretty competitive with Mercedes, which that was cool to see. Sebastian Vettel, two-time world champ up there. He and Hamilton had some good fights. And, you missed the Nico Rosberg era as well. That was interesting.
But speaking of that, we're going to Spain next weekend.
We are,
and that's where they famously collided on the first lap.
Yeah,
or maybe not first lap, but second. In that Spain and then you see Lewis kind of, they wreck into each other.
Oh yeah.
And then Lewis goes you just see Lewis like this, it's the perfect camera angle.
Yeah, I think it's Spain. We're not positive.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Spain. It was Spain, or was it? No.
I'm not a facts guy, so.
Or was it Silverstone?
I know the collision.
Was it Silverstone?
I don't know.
Okay.
Honestly,
anyways,
I know the collision.
This isn't where you're going to come for specifics on F1 history.
Definitely not me. Maybe him. Definitely not me.
No. I am a fan currently, and I will entertain people teaching me about the history of F1, but I'm not a F1 history buff. But yeah. But let's just jump into do we think the cars this year have served their purpose? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think everybody's more competitive, and that's what everybody wanted.
Do you think everyone is more competitive because of these rules, or because there was a rule change? Do you think next year, 2 years, 3 years from now, that it'll just be like it was last year, where you have so. You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think the people at the FIA really tried to make the regulations strict enough to where all right, these have to be more competitive.
Sure.
There's no way they won't be.
And there's a lot in there. I don't know if you know this, but I think there's a lot more shared components too now. Yeah. So they're forcing it. Obviously, it's not a spec series, but they've made it a spec series, and not a spec series, but they've made it some parts of the car's spec.
Yeah.
And so that will ultimately make the cars more alike and more,
they were we just want it to be a little more like F2 and F3 and F4, just a little bit. Yeah.
So the cars, we think they follow better. Obviously, they're not as good in the slow speed, right? Slow speed cornering, they're not as good in.
I don't think they create as much downforce.
No.
Because the front wings are way, way different.
Yeah, they're way different. So
less elements, as they say.
Yeah. And so they've simplified everything, because when you simplify the aerodynamics, it doesn't create, in my head, the way I think about it is that the more complicated little bits you have on the car, the more downforce, and the crazier the air will be behind the car. Every little piece you put on it is going to create an even crazier turbulence at the back of the car, causing the cars behind it not be able to follow.
Yeah.
And so what do you think about the tires? Do you have any opinion on the tires? I don't really feel like I feel like maybe the only thing is that some of the compounds don't seem as far apart as they used to be.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
They're just, they're different. Obviously they're 18-inch now. So
yeah.
That's a big difference.
I haven't seen it really hinder any of the, because a lot of the drivers were saying that it was going to be a visibility thing. They weren't going to be able to see the corners as well.
Yeah.
Which we've both driven simulators. If you're ever in a cockpit view, you can't see anything anyways. You're going into most every corner blind anyway. Which is, it's
crazy that it's normal for them. They're just I know exactly where this is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's I'm sure places like Silverstone and Spa and places like that, they just could do it blindfolded probably.
Spa especially, you have to be able to do it blindfolded in order to go through Eau Rouge.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, we did it on what's
iRacing?
But I think we did it on the other. Was it iRacing? Yeah, we did iRacing, and we did a Porsche.
Yeah.
We did a Porsche.
We did Spa on a set of courses.
A sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was It took me like a while to get Eau Rouge down.
First time
it was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. But okay, so the cars we think are an improvement, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They're an improvement. I love how you can overtake and then the battle isn't over. Like it used to be overtake and the battle's over.
They overtake
now,
and then they overtake again. And they overtake again.
Especially when you have like really top level drivers like Charles and Max.
Oh, yeah.
Like Charles, those first 2 races where he was positioning himself because he knew he couldn't block Max. And so he was really just positioning himself to overtake him on the next DRS. I mean, dude, it was like, you couldn't have asked for anything better.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The 3 races after that, weren't as you had some battles in the back of the field, but you shouldn't have that Max and Charles battle. Okay, so we agree that the cars are better.
Yeah. Except for the porpoising.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to talk.
Okay. Yeah. Give your spiel because you're a Lewis guy. You're a Mercedes guy.
I am a Mercedes guy.
And
Ferrari, it struggles with porpoising, even though their cars, their cars quick. It's extremely fast, obviously, but like, I would say my biggest hope for next year is that none of the cars have the issue because it's not a fun issue to watch. It's like, it's one thing, reliability. It would be awesome if that wasn't even in the question. Everybody was just always reliable and it would be awesome. But the porpoising is just, it's torture to watch, And
so you wouldn't say, like in my head, every
switch back and forth.
Yeah, we can just keep switching. In my head, the porpoising, and I mean, I'm biased because it's not really affecting Red Bull that much.
Right.
I mean,
they're really the only, I don't know. They might be the only team that is not suffering.
Got it down pretty well. I think every team has it. It's just like, okay, and this is where I'm going with my argument. Every team has their downfalls, right?
Yeah.
Like every team, like the way F1 works is the team, like the speed of your car, how quick your car is like on a sliding scale. Red Bull just has such a better car in other areas. They can limit their car in certain ways to limit the porpoising.
Yeah.
So it's
like strengths and weaknesses of each car, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so like Mercedes, I'm sure once they're able to, I don't really know where I'm going with this. I understand what I'm saying in my head. I don't know how to get it out of my mouth. Right. But
pose yourself. We're on YouTube, dude. This is a big deal.
Yeah, this is huge. All 15 people that are gonna watch this. But I'm trying to say that it's just another. In my head, it's just another thing that they have to conquer. They have
it's an engineering feat.
Exactly.
It's something for them, like the engineers, to figure out. And it's up to them, and otherwise, they're going to struggle with it.
Because, and I think you would agree with me, engineering, I mean, F1 is, if anything, more of an engineering sport than even driving.
Absolutely.
Of course you have, in my opinion, you have we can name them: Max, Charles, George Russell, obviously Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso. Maybe is he still up top? Would you still
top driver?
Yeah. Would you say if he had a championship winning car, he would battle for the championship, right?
Yeah. I think he does a phenomenal job.
So you have
car, I think,
and then you have maybe Lando's up there too.
Yeah,
you have those. What I'm trying to get at is that you have these. There's definitely better drivers.
Oh, absolutely.
Compared to there's.
Yeah, if you put them all in the same car, it's the end-old argument.
There would still be better drivers than others, but I think at the end of the day, it's mostly your car.
Yeah,
and I mean
that level. I mean, anybody that makes it to that level, maybe not Nikita Mazepin, but other than him
and Nicholas Latifi.
Oh. Dude, yeah,
that's been bad. Oof. That's been bad. I mean, and he has no excuses now either. But anyways, back to the cars. I think.
It's an engineering competition.
It's an engineering competition, and
I agree.
And I think porpoising is just one of those things that and I get what you're saying. You're just coming from a perspective of like
of the viewer.
Yeah. It's not, and I'm sure Lewis doesn't. Like, I'm sure it's not very enjoyable for the drivers, and not just because of like it hurts their performance, but yeah, because it's like it's got to be physically like
it's
awful.
Gotta be.
Like it's got to be probably one of the worst experiences in the F1 car.
It's got to be uncomfortable.
If I had to imagine.
Yeah.
So the porpoising is an issue.
We don't like it. We're not here for it.
DRS. I feel like we saw in where was that? Was it Imola? Where the rain was? It rain in Imola? Is that right? Where I think there was a little bit of rain in Imola when we raced there, and they didn't have DRS for the first like 30 laps or 40 laps, and
then it opened up,
and it eventually. But what I'm sorry, I should probably. I'm really bad. Like my brain is like thinking like. I'm thinking about the conversation like way far down the line.
Right.
But I'm talking about like DRS. Do we think it's still needed? And I think what I was getting at was that at Imola they didn't have DRS for about 40 laps, and it was bad. Like there was no overtaking. Of course it was wet, so that affects it a little bit too. But I think DRS is still. You need it.
So, you need it. I don't think there's an argument there.
But do you like, because that's all I've known and that's all you've known too, maybe we're biased maybe, but like, because we don't know what it'd be like without it. But I don't see a problem with it. Like there's no part of me that's like, oh, we need to get rid of it. There's no like urge in me that's like, oh, we need to fix the cars. Like, of course I would love to not have it, I guess. But to me, it's just it doesn't seem like something that we really need to make an effort to get rid of.
No, I think it makes the cars, more fun to watch. It just, if somebody's going to pass in a corner, like that's the most exciting thing for me personally. I think a lot of people are like, oh man, seeing somebody pass around the outside, like just gets you going, But in order for us to see passing, like on the straights and stuff, the DRS is the best. It's a catalyst for those passes. And I want to see it. I want to, it's not like every day you just see somebody pass around the outside in the corner or dive in deep. It's, it's tough. It's a tough move to make. So, I like it. And then on a side note, I think that the rear wings on the 22 cars in the DRS and just how it operates is super cool. I just really like how it looks. I think it's sick compared to last year.
Are you saying just aesthetically the way the wings look?
Just how it looks. I love them.
The rounded wings, like the curvature of the wings is a lot more aesthetically pleasing. Than the old boxy. Like when I go back and look at the old car, I'm like, oh, that looks. Dude, I'm like, that looks like really. That looks really like unappealing. It's
so
weird.
Last year.
It is funny how like quickly we move on, and I do also appreciate how we, as a whole F1 community, just kind of got behind the new car. Like there was almost nobody that was like, oh no, we need these look bad. Like these are not F1 cars. No, everyone like
these front elements. No.
Like everyone just got it, like accepted it immediately.
Yeah.
And then especially those first two races helped too, like seeing the product, actually on the television.
It worked.
Yeah, it worked. And so, I think my first video I made, I applauded the FIA at the very beginning because.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
I think they knocked it out of the park really with these new cars, and I really hope that it continues. I mean, so we won't have a big regulation change until like 26 when the engine. And so I guess that means that they'll probably update like the last regulations. They made small changes here and there.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they'll do that. They'll continue doing that, right?
Yeah, there'll always be small changes, like how they got rid of the. Gosh, I don't even know how many compounds it was, and I don't know if when you started watching, maybe this wasn't a thing, but at one time they had, they had a soft tire, a hyper soft. They had like purple, pink, red. They had an intermediate. They had a wet tire, hard.
They could use all those on the race day.
It was crazy. Still all the rules about limited on how many you can bring, but there was like 7 tire options, and then they were like, we're not doing this. It's soft, medium, hard, intermediate, wet, and then they just move the whether it's a C1, 2, or 3 or 2, 3, 4 depends. But
so have you seen that some people have been arguing that, I think Lando specifically argued that to fix the sprint races, that they should bring back like the hyper soft tires.
That would be really interesting,
because and like maybe force them, because the sprint races right now, that's kind of something else I wanted to talk to you about and get your opinion on, because I kind of have like a mixed bag. Like I don't know if I don't have like a solid like I hate them, I love them. I do like that. I think it's really cool that the qualifying is on the Friday. It adds way more excitement throughout the week, first off, which I enjoy. There's an argument that maybe it dilutes the actual race. But having them come in, have one practice session, and then just go straight into qualifying,
it's crazy.
It's crazy. And because they have almost no time, and I think, I don't know this for a fact, but because of Parc Ferme, the setup of the car going to qualifying on Friday is what they have to have for the entire week.
It has to remain. It has to remain. So
and I think that's what messed up. Was it Lewis?
Yeah, it was the Mercedes. They got the setup wrong for I don't remember what race that was. Maybe the second or third race of the season.
Was it Imola? I thought. Yeah, I think it was Imola. I think it was Imola.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. I don't know. My memory recall is horrible. Like I know it happened, but I can't tie it to a race. There's no way.
Yeah, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was in Imola. Yeah. I think that was it.
But the sprint races overall, I would say I'm a fan that it creates more excitement, like you were saying. But I like the traditional. You practice, you qualify, and that sets the grid for Sunday. I like that idea.
Yeah, I don't like the whole.
The sprint race determines your place.
Or like,
I'm just not so.
Last year was like the Speed King.
Yeah,
you remember that? Like they gave like the winner of the qualifying on Friday the Speed King award.
You're like, what is this?
And then but this year they changed it to where the qualifying winner on Friday is the pole is on pole position. Right. But or the pole setter or pole winner or whatever.
Right. Well, I think if you qualify, you get it.
But then if you lose some spots in the sprint race, you're not starting on pole. It's like a weird terminology thing.
Right. Because I heard them talking about like how do we do this for record purposes, because they record like, oh, this is how many poles Leclerc has gotten, and so if he gets pole on Friday for a sprint race, does that go towards it, or is it if he wins the sprint race? Like
it's confusing when you can win pole but not start on first. Right. It's like start P1.
Yeah, it's
on Sunday.
Concept. I mean,
do you think it takes away from, because to me all you're doing is adding laps to the race and adding another start. Right.
Yeah,
you're basically adding like 30 laps and then throwing a red flag, right? I mean, that's basically what you're doing. And so, funny way to look at it, I mean, that's all you're doing. And so, it really helped Lewis in Brazil last year.
The sprint race.
Because you remember he had the penalty and started last.
Oh yeah.
And then in the sprint race, he got up like 14 spots.
Yeah.
I mean, he went from last to first. He won that race in the Mercedes rocket ship.
Crazy.
They had during that time period last season. But yeah, the sprint races, I'm kind of mixed on them in general. They like I said, I like that it adds. Like I would love if I was going to the Grand Prix.
Oh yeah.
To have that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm really surprised they didn't do that last year in Austin.
They didn't do a sprint race? Yeah, because they know the American people would have been like, oh yeah, like, oh yeah.
Oh, we would have ate that up, bro.
Yeah. Would have ate it up.
So I don't know if I think I heard that it's like a more of a certain like the layout of the track is that's kind of what I've heard, which kind of sucks. But anyways, so sprint races, whatever. I think also I wanted to ask your opinion on like the pit stops. They're a little different now, just with like they take a little longer.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the bigger tires.
Yeah, and they also like set a minimum, didn't they? Like you can't go under a certain.
Maybe so.
For safety. For safety reasons.
Yeah.
So.
But I don't think that really is like. It hasn't really like affected races that much.
Yeah. Like,
longer because everyone has longer pit stops now.
Right.
I think maybe like if you looked at it, there's a larger spread. Like from the fastest to the slowest, maybe.
Delta.
Yeah. Like the delta between the fastest and the slowest is a little bit larger now, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like some people maybe haven't gotten it down as quickly as other people have.
Yeah. You think it'd be easier with those big aero shields, like?
Oh yeah.
It would seem like it would be easier because it has like a
guide for the
guide almost. Like if you were off, it would just like and slip in there.
I would think that too. Okay, so now let's talk about the teams. Yeah, let's talk about the teams now in general. And I guess let's start with the bottom, which I don't even know. I guess Williams is at the bottom right now. Is that who's at the bottom?
Yeah, I feel like
because Alex has gotten like two points.
Yeah.
Did he finish 10th? And then has he finished 10th?
He finished 10th and then 9th.
Okay, so he has three points.
Yeah.
Or is it 4? How many points do you get for 9th? 2?
I think it's 2. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's 2.
So they have 3 points.
Yeah. Red hair gang. If y'all, you know what's up.
I mean, that was crazy too because he said like the red hair thing. He just like wanted to like he knew it. Like he won not one. I mean, basically a win. Basically a win for a Williams is getting 10th place.
Yeah.
But that the red hair was good luck. Tried it again. It's one of those things that you can't do it every weekend, right?
Right. Well, he said, I watched a lot of like the interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
And he said, they showed some clips internal at Williams, like, and he was making like kind of a speech, and he said, okay, so, and this is at Miami. He was like, so I've dyed my hair red, and if I get points this weekend, then like we're all gonna dye our hair red, And one of the, I don't know if it was like a race engineer or somebody was like, okay, we're gonna do it in what's his name? The Williams principal. I think his name is Yost or.
I don't know. He's new.
Yeah, the guy. He used to be. He was in the world of rally racing. I know that, which they're quite eccentric people there. So he was sent to Williams to really spark it up, motivate them. I think he's doing a good job at it, but anyway.
He's more of like he seems like more of like you said eccentric.
He's very outspoken.
Really?
Yeah, he's like very like, all right, like let's get it, know, kind of like Zach Brown, but European. That's my best way to describe him. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so Williams overall,
still bad.
Yeah, there was kind of high hopes.
I had high hopes.
I mean, like coming before the season, there's a lot of like joking going around that like, oh, what if George left for Mercedes and then Williams became, and they have their Mercedes engine because that used to be like a good thing.
Yeah,
it's not necessarily the best thing currently,
right?
And then they had the smaller side pods. They didn't have a zero pods like Mercedes, but they had the smaller side pods. Like they were very similar to the Mercedes car.
Yeah.
And I have to think that if the Mercedes car was actually really good, maybe the Williams would have also been, really good as well. That just wasn't the case. Latifi is struggling. Like
he's doing bad.
He's obviously not. I don't want to speak for you. In my opinion, he's not a natural driver. Like I
don't think he's a natural leader.
Yeah. Okay.
I
could agree with that.
Seems like he is very,
he's like playing a support role, and it just doesn't seem like he really wants it that bad. I'm sure he's in F1. I'm sure he wants to be a world champion, but
and the support is the money from his family. That's his support to the team. And they need it because of how many times he's thrown it into the wall this season.
They do need it.
That's been, and I mean, man, this video is gonna be forever because there's so many things I want to talk to you about. But yeah, something I wanted to talk to you about was, and it has to do with Latifi, is is now with the cost cap, it's almost to a point where a consistent safe driver may offset a driver that has a lot of money behind them. And like I haven't really heard this been talked about really. I haven't really heard anybody.
Just an idea you've been
it's just like a thought that I had in my head. I was like, man, I wonder. But then I was thinking like maybe it's not talked about because the money that these drivers bring is just so much that it doesn't really matter. But these teams talk like every little piece they have to fix, everything, every engine that you have to replace,
massive amounts of money.
Every little thing costs a lot of money, and that they're going to be running out or running really close to that limit at the end of the year. And when you have a driver that just consistently
throws it in the wall,
it's like, okay, is he helping us with his money? Like, because
hurting us,
or because like at the end of the day, now with the cost cap, these teams, or maybe I might be wrong on this, is every team going to spend the limit, the max?
I don't know.
Is that how? Like, I know obviously the big teams like Red Bull, Mercedes, Ferrari, they'll all be spending the max. Because like this is like hurting them. But what I don't know, and I wish I knew, was the budget for the smaller teams larger than the cap is now? Or
I don't think so. No, I think it's set for all the teams. It's just like, this is it. You can't spend more than this.
But what I'm saying is like in the past years, did like a team like Alfa Romeo, like what is it 100? Is it like, how much is it this year? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Is it like 150 million or 200 million?
Sounds about
Let's say 200 million. Let's say it's 200 million just for shits and giggles.
Just as a reference.
So did Alfa Romeo in the past, like let's say, was their budget 150K? So this doesn't really hurt them?
Like their internal budget?
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. But,
you could probably look it up.
Or were all the teams' budgets over the cap?
Right, the cap. I have no idea.
I don't know.
I think it was, I would imagine that they would do kind of like take a median of the 10 teams. And then like whatever the median is, I feel like that's what they would set the budget at. That seems to make sense for me. So that the teams that weren't spending as much money, like if they can help start doing good, it would help them. But other teams, they were like, y'all spending way too much. Bump them down.
Anyways, so I just had that thought about, the drivers, if Latifi's bringing money to the team, but also he's taking a lot of money away. And so that could be hurting them.
He's back to neutral. $100 million from Latifi's family. $100 million in crashes.
No, exactly.
Back at zero.
No, exactly. So, okay, but on the other end, like Williams has the most polarized garage in the whole F1 probably, because they have the worst driver in F1 currently on one side of the garage, and then the other they have one of them. I'm not going to say he's one of the best drivers in F1, but he's been one of the most consistent. And he's I feel like he's outperforming that car.
Just like George did last year.
Yeah. And so,
I mean,
I don't know. It's just like a huge, what's the word? Is it referendum? No. What's the word? Like,
you're gonna get it.
It's something like that. I don't know how to say it right. But it's just a big stain on Latifi that Albon has come in first year in Williams and just picked it up. He never left F1.
And he's really proven that like he deserves to be in F1. I mean, it's clear. It's clear. I think, and also, so I watched some of the like the stuff on F1 TV. They have so much content, and I watched something, and Christian Horner was saying that Perez is doing good this year. He's competitive, not to jump ahead or anything.
No, you're good.
It kind of goes to this, and he was saying that the setup of the Red Bull this year is much easier to drive, which is one of the main issues that they had last era
with the young drivers.
They're just the second driver really is they kind of set the car up and the other people would come in, Albin, Gasly,
even Daniel. Once they started
making it for Max,
catering the car to Max.
Yeah.
Daniel started to struggle.
Yeah, and so anyway, what Christian Horner says, the 22 car is much more of a neutral platform. So I think that's why, Sergio has. I feel like he's done well this year.
Yeah. So do you think Albon could do a better job than Sergio? I hold Sergio pretty high. Like, I think Sergio's a really good driver.
I think after his performance from last year, defending Hamilton, that was incredible.
Checo's a legend. Yeah, have you seen that shirt? They made a shirt of that picture of where Checo's in front of Lewis, and then you can see Max in the background.
Yeah.
Because, dude, Max was like 13 seconds behind Lewis at that point.
Yeah.
And Checo held him up for 13. I mean,
it's insane.
But that just goes.
Absolutely insane.
That also just goes to show how much faster that Mercedes was, because Max still couldn't pass him.
Yeah.
I mean, Max got within like close to like a second, and then Lewis pulled away again. Like it was just like that Mercedes was a rocket at the end of the season last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so who knows? Like, once again, jumping ahead, but who knows what Red Bull's going to do in the future, because they have to make a decision with Gasly, because if they don't give him the Red Bull spot,
he's good, man.
He's good. He's really good. And it's like the only place I could see him going that makes any sense is, because like, man, this is like a whole nother conversation, because I think it's Mercedes, to be honest with you. Yeah. I think when Lewis retires, I think Gasly is, I don't think Gasly's like on the level of Charles and Max and George. So I think he could be like a good, I think maybe the only problem would be is that Pierre thinks he's that good. Yeah. And he might cause some turmoil. But anyway, the reason I think that is because Pierre wants to move up. So the only few teams that he could do that with would be McLaren, which I think McLaren might go for an American driver soon.
I think so too.
Yeah. And so Alpine, they have Porsche. Is it Porsche in F2 right now? Who's like there's some young kid in the Alpine driving academy that's like
killing it,
and it's like he's like the next heir apparent. Like there's no question, like he's the guy that's gonna replace Alonso. Okay. And then Mercedes, and so I think.
And it would be a bit of a, I mean, McLaren, it would be a bit of a gamble. Because
to go to McLaren,
yeah, like they have tons of potential, but I think, I mean,
I don't know, McLaren, they came back.
Yeah, they came back.
They have 2 podiums, right? Lando got 2 podiums.
I think Lando is just having a good season.
Yeah. Let's not jump ahead. Let's but let's talk about, okay, so we're talking about Pierre. Let's go to Yuki. What do you think about you? I mean, kind of hasn't really been that good, hasn't really been that bad.
So I finished watching the end of Drive to Survive last week. Yeah. And they had this.
Man, you were late, huh?
Yeah, really late, because I started watching like F1. I was like, okay, I don't have time for all this.
All this fake shit.
Yeah. I was like, I know what happened. But they did this like feature episode on Yuki kind of, and I got an insight into like his life and like how he was operating, and in a lot of ways, Yuki kind of reminds me of Max personality wise, and I was like
abrasive,
he's very aggressive, and I really genuinely think he has a lot of potential. I think he's just got to get everything outside of the track sorted, and it'll come together.
I think
he's good. He just, I don't know, he's missing something right now. There's a missing piece, clearly.
I think I think the biggest thing for him this season is he hasn't been making as many mistakes. Like last season, he had a few really bright moments, but then was like throwing it in the wall.
It was highs and lows.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I think maybe they're making a point to him this season, dude, just be consistent.
Yeah.
And like, don't push it don't try to be
that's what he was doing last
don't try
season.
to be the hero every lap. Cause it'd be like the second practice session.
Yeah.
And he'd like be throwing it in the wall. It's like,
he's driving over the limit.
Yeah. Every lap. Yeah. And so, okay. So AlphaTauri overall though, they're not where they were last year.
No, they're not.
They're not giving him the car, not giving Pierre the car that he had.
No.
Because he was like finishing like 4th and 5th. Like,
yeah. He had a good season.
Or like maybe qualifying 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
Pretty consistently. Okay. So AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri is definitely farther ahead, I think. But we need to go back. Aston Martin.
Yeah, it's sad.
Man, I think
they went like.
Yeah.
It was. Were you watching whenever Sahara Force India was a thing? Do you know what that is?
So the only reason, you have to also think that I've watched all of Drive to Survive.
Okay, yeah.
So that first season of Drive to Survive was when all that went down.
Oh, okay.
So when Force India turned into Racing Point.
Yeah.
And Lawrence stepped in and bought it.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with that, and I'm familiar with either the next season or the season after that when they copied the Mercedes.
Yeah.
So it's 2020 is when they copied their Mercedes of 2019.
Right.
And they were doing really well.
They were, yeah.
And I don't know, man. I don't know, like, I don't have a strong opinion on Aston Martin. I thought they were going to be better this year than they are. Yeah. I just don't know what to expect. Like, some people are talking about Lawrence should already be looking to sell the team. Which they have plans. They have like plans for like all these big like facilities and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think their goal maybe now is like 2025 or 20, because I think people have said like maybe they might jump in as a manufacturer.
Yeah. Instead of like.
But it's like, so now are we gonna so maybe you can clarify this for me. Audi and Porsche, they're coming in 2025 or 6. 20.
Yeah, 20. I think it's 2026.
Okay, they're going to be manufacturers?
So I was under the assumption that they were providing engines, but what if one of them took the Aston Martin spot?
Yeah,
that would be cool.
Well, what I've heard is that Porsche and Red Bull, I think are going to kind of team up.
Yeah.
And then I saw something today. It looked fake, but that Andretti and Audi might be.
There's a whole conversation around Andretti getting into F1.
Yeah, and so
I don't think it's gonna happen. Anyway.
Well, Aston Martin. This is okay. So Lance is Lance. Lance Stroll. He is.
Man.
Yeah, he's man. And what's really crazy is like my initial opinion on him from watching Drive to Survive was that he's he's only in there because of his daddy's money.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But then I kind of had real F1 fans kind of like change my opinion and be like, no, like he's actually showing like all these results.
Yeah.
But what it seems like is he improved a little bit and he's just not improving. Like he's not getting any.
He's flatlined.
Yeah. And why would you, when your dad owns the team and you have no incentive to get better? Yeah. Especially when your car isn't
competitive. You're like, I can just take it easy.
But so Lance is Lance. I'm curious what your opinion on Seb is, because like I said, I wasn't a big fan until last year. I watched 2020 a little bit. Yeah. But 2021 was my first season. So I have never seen Seb competing at the front of the grid. Yeah. It just doesn't seem. It seems like if he doesn't have and this is a lot of people, but if he doesn't have the car, there's motivation's probably a big part of it. Yeah. But there just hasn't been one moment where I'm like, oh, he's a 4-time, like, oh, he's showing his. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like Lewis, if you put Lewis in a slow car, I feel like there would still be moments where you're like, oh shit, like this is Lewis Hamilton. And with Seb, it like there's not. I just don't feel that as much. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I share your opinion on that. Yeah. I mean, what he did with Red Bull was astounding. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've watched any like highlights or anything, but he was killing it. He was insane. That I won't claim to know much about that era. I wasn't watching it at that time, but I've done my research and he seems. I think his focus is kind of shifted, honestly,
to more like a humanitarian stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. He does all of this stuff with like in Miami, he was saying that he visited some place about like land conservation for Florida because it was going to be underwater. And then I watched a press conference where he had like a blue and a yellow band on his arm for Ukraine and like.
Yeah, he's very political.
Yeah, he is. He's very political. So I don't know. I mean, I think he still likes to race. He just he's changed.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess I don't. For Aston Martin, I don't think it really makes sense for. So what Aston Martin wanted was they wanted a vet in that car to have. yeah, that's fun. They want that's funny. I didn't realize that his tag is actually vet.
Yeah.
But they wanted a what would you call it? Somebody to compare Lance to.
Yeah.
They wanted a starting
benchmark.
A benchmark.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to think of. They wanted a benchmark for their car and for Lance, and he's just not outperforming Lance that much. And so as a team, I just don't know if it's worth it for if he's it'd be like I could see him being the next person to retire.
Yeah, like if they're paying him a lot of money, then it's probably not worth it because he's not really playing that role that they want him to, right? It's like we're paying you all this money for the what you bring from your past, but if you're not that anymore, then
I think they would have been best off keeping Checo, honestly, because Checo wasn't looking to leave.
Yeah, and Checo brings a lot of money in.
Yeah, and like I felt like they built some loyalty there.
Absolutely.
With Checo, and they kind of ruined all that, and they brought in a Seb that's just uninspired, and I feel like Checo has a little bit more to. He's still kind of hungry.
Yeah, he definitely brings more to the table.
Yeah, but maybe that's because he's also in a Red Bull now. Because as you get older, like he's older for the drivers. Like, was he like 32 probably at this point?
Vettel or Checo?
Checo. Is he like 30, 31?
I don't know. I would say he's probably somewhere between 30 and 32.
Yeah. So as you get to that age, probably if you're not unless you're like some like freak like Fernando Alonso, if you're not in like a championship car, you're probably starting to lose a little bit of motivation.
How old's Vettel? Vettel's got to be like.
He's like 33.
Yeah, I was.
Because like it's weird. You think
37.
I know.
Yeah,
I know. And is Fernando in his 40s yet?
I think he's 40.
Yeah. So it's like it's weird. You would think Seb is like 45. Like
right.
The way he like,
especially his hair.
His receding. Well, when you have that bad of a receding hairline and then you
cover it up.
And then you grow that, it just looks bad. It looks. He's trying to go back to his championship days.
Yeah,
the long hair.
To go back to the flow.
Yeah, it's just not working, man. But okay, so that's Aston Martin.
Yeah.
We talked about Williams, Aston Martin, AlphaTauri, Haas. We need to talk about Haas.
Yeah.
Because I think they're actually. Dude, I have no clue how they. I mean, I know like the top few teams where they stand, but because. It's just so up and down. Like Haas.
Yeah, they kind of had a good start, and everybody else just caught up to them, and now they're just, I don't know, maybe around like 7th.
Well,
I don't know.
What I don't get is, like, so apparently the way they update their car is like they have scheduled moments in the season where they're gonna bring on the parts. They like where other teams will like. Have things in the works, and like every race they're trying new things. Haas, to save money, it's like it's the way they
schedule.
And so it's like they're not planning to make any upgrades for the next like 2 or 3 months. It's like, how are you going to compete in F1?
How does that? How does that work?
You're just not gonna follow the back.
I thought that was the whole point of them not doing anything last season. They were like, okay, we're gonna give up on the whole season, and like I thought that was like, all right, we're dropping coins in the piggy bank, like we're strategizing, like we're doing all of this so that they could be normal this year. But that sounds radical.
It's just like if you're Gene Haas and you actually come out at the start of the season with like a really solid car. It looks like. Like you have to either be all in or all out. I feel like, and I feel like he's kind of like
he's just got one foot in.
Yeah, because like he's like he owns a like I don't really know what Haas does.
They make like CNC machines.
What is
like
that?
It's like it's like a machine where you can take like a block of aluminum and like mill it, and it'll make like a wheel or anything. It's got like it spins really fast, and it just it's not like it's like the opposite of a 3D printer.
Yeah.
It takes away material.
It's carving out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like super advanced.
Okay, so he's the CEO of that company.
Very large company.
Or I don't know if he's the CEO, but he's the owner of it.
Yeah.
And so he has all that to deal with. But it's like as the owner of an F1 team, I feel like you need to be more involved a little bit. Like you see like Zach Brown, like even Lawrence Stroll. Even though Lawrence, I don't know if he goes to the races anymore.
He does. I think
every race.
I don't know about every race, but
like Gene Haas, like only goes to the American races.
Yeah.
Maybe Silverstone if he. I don't know.
I think some would say Gene Haas is looking like a bit of a wanker. That's all I have to say.
That's good. I like that. That's okay. So let's move to the drivers, I guess.
Yeah.
I love that K-Mag is back.
Oh yeah, I love Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
You might have some more. You've watched him longer than I have. What is your opinion on him?
I like him. I think he's a good driver.
He's talented.
Yeah.
Not a championship caliber driver, but
I think he and Nico Hülkenberg are very similar in my mind.
Has spurts of like really crazy like skill here and there, but like will never be.
No, they're not championship drivers, I don't think.
Yeah, but maybe but at one point in their careers people thought they might.
Yeah, Nico Hülkenberg had like a really good come up, and he just didn't perform.
Yeah, and so what is your opinion on Mick Schumacher?
I mean, he's not following in his dad's footsteps. You know, he's not out here in the Jordan 191 and killing it.
Yeah.
Or like having tons of great moments. I'm a little disappointed, to be honest.
Yeah.
But he does things right. I will say that. He doesn't like cause a whole lot of issues. He's he's got the brand on point. Like he's got the F1.
Well, he's got the name.
Well, he's got the name, but also like it would be one thing if he had the name, but
was like an asshole.
Yeah, like acted like Mazepin, let's say.
Yeah.
You know, it would be a whole different story. Like he's very well like trained, I guess is my point. And I think he's a good kid, it seems like. Yeah. But he has to start performing because that's like Bruno Senna, who is Ayrton Senna's nephew, came to F1 and lasted like 3 years.
Wow.
He just didn't have a long run.
And
so
with
the name only gets you so far.
Yeah, and I think Haas are in a position where, if you're not showing something, like Mick's whole plan was to go to Ferrari.
Yeah,
like that was the plan. But and Carlos isn't performing that great right now.
Yeah.
But I think I did think very highly of Carlos, and I think he just has a lot of pressure on him right now, and I think he'll figure it out. Yeah. I just don't think Mick is an upgrade or will be anytime soon.
I think he should go to Alfa Romeo.
Mick should.
Yeah.
And kick Zhou out, because I think Zhou's more skilled than. I think Zhou might be better than Mick.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Bottas retires early. He's like, I think I'm done with this.
You saw that picture that he posted the other day?
Yeah.
Dude, he's got a donk, bro. Dude. Like that dude's got.
Yeah. Well, I think he's fishing for trout with worm.
Dude, that would hurt so bad. That was the word.
Yeah.
But okay, so yeah, Mick. I mean, he had that. The Miami race, they were saying might be one of his best races so far, like in his career. Well, he was going to be like 10th or 9th, and then he wrecked into Sebastian.
Oh yeah.
He just plowed right into him.
Yeah, that
and
was
luckily,
a terrible mistake.
Luckily it was Sebastian because they have that relationship.
Yeah, they have a great relationship.
And so luckily it was like them two where they can talk it out and be like, it can be a learning moment for him.
It's cool.
That was bad. Yeah, right? Like that wasn't that just kind of like
I was just like
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just Haas. It just felt like very Haas-like.
Yeah, very
to
Haas-y.
do that. Okay, so we talked about Haas.
Yeah. What about, have we talked about Alpine any?
Not yet. Do you want to talk about them or Alfa Romeo first? Alpine. Let's go Alpine.
Okay.
Let's go Alpine because I think the Alfa Romeo is a little better than the Alpine car right now.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it's close. But I think Alpine's gotten a little unlucky with the past few. With like, because Fernando almost got pole in Australia. Like if he wouldn't have thrown, apparently like he was setting like purple sectors.
Yeah.
And then he spun out in the, not didn't spin out, but in that what's that little S.
Chicane?
Or I'm talking about the specific one. I don't know.
In Australia?
That big one. You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like a high speed.
Yeah.
They come around that curve and it's like a quick L. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called.
You know what it's called? Anyways, I think that's where he went off and hit the wall.
Yeah.
But Alpine overall, I feel like they're just like, I don't know if they're ever, like, it doesn't feel like they're ever going to make that big step.
No, they've just been a boatload of mediocre since, I don't know.
Forever?
Well, not forever. I mean, you know, Fernando worked wonders back in whatever, 05, 06, or that period. But, I mean, as of V6 hybrid era,
yeah,
they're just so mediocre.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And so the drivers, though, Fernando
Good lineup.
Yeah, good lineup. Fernando is still...
He's goated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's one of the best for sure.
Yeah.
I think.
Too bad he only has like one championship.
Yeah.
Like I think if any of the drivers deserve more,
it's
probably Fernando. And so I mean, the only conversation to have there is that like, at what point do you make way for younger drivers, right? Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. I think it comes down to purely like just a budget thing, because he's proven he's 40 years old or however old he is. Like he's always going to perform pretty consistently until, you know, I guess he'll get so old that he won't be able to. But I mean,
at some point, who knows when that will be?
Yeah, I don't see a reason to like
leave.
I don't see a reason for them to fire him or for him to leave, because
some people say that the older drivers at a certain point should have it's their duty, like
to leave.
In a way, it's like your career at this point is like he's just racing because he probably loves to just race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, Alpine is not competing for championships for the next, like his career will end before Alpine is fighting for championships.
Absolutely.
If I had to guess, right? And so, I think if that's the case, I think it is your duty. But I mean, if they want him and he wants them, shoot.
We won't get into the morals of F1 right now, but
no, that's a whole nother hour long discussion.
Yeah, but what about Ocon?
I don't know. I had
a great season last year.
Yeah, I'm weird on
highs.
Yeah, I'm weird on Ocon because like I think a lot of people that were fans a little bit before me like him more. Yeah. And then I think the way Drive to Survive painted him sometimes. Yeah. They didn't paint him in a good light. Right. So I don't love the person necessarily. Yeah. I'm not saying I have the correct feelings towards him. That's just the way I feel. And I'm very open to be my mind changed because I think he's one of the few that came from nothing, right? Yeah. So I feel like he actually has one of the better stories out of most people. I don't see I think at one point there was a conversation whether Mercedes should take Ocon or George. And I don't see that.
Yeah, you're like, you don't see that in him.
No, I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't have much to say on Ocon. He definitely, had some hothead moments. Yeah.
And then when two hotheads like him and Max come together.
Oh yeah, it's not good. No. It's really not good.
No. Yeah. That was spark.
That whole incident with Max and Daniel in the Red Bull when they hit each other. Yeah. That would happen like every race if it was Max and Ocon, I think.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad.
Yeah. I feel like Ocon is about around the same level as like Pierre. Like really good, solid drivers, but not going to be.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Pierre's a little bit better.
You think?
But yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think he is.
I could go with that. For some reason, I feel like a lot of F1 fans that have been fans longer than me hold Ocon higher than I do.
Higher?
No.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No, I mean, I don't think so.
Okay. Maybe at the level of Valtteri, Ocon?
I think he's right in between. I think Valtteri's a little bit better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you think Valtteri's better than Ocon?
Yeah, I think, man, that's not in between because I'm crossing my words now. Yeah, I think it's Valtteri, Gasly, and then Ocon. That's my personal opinion. It's driver skill. But.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo.
Impressive. I think the car overall. I love the new color scheme. I like that. Yeah, I think it looks good.
I like what they did with the aero disc.
Yeah. And so the car I think has been consistently fourth fastest, maybe. Yeah, them and McLaren.
Yeah, them and McLaren are pretty close.
And Mercedes sometimes drops down to fourth.
Yeah.
Depending on the race.
Yeah.
Because the McLaren has been. The past two races have been a little. No, I guess last race the Mercedes was faster.
Yeah.
But the two races before that, McLaren, when they got both the podiums, they were up there. Anyways, Alfa Romeo though, car's been solid. Drivers, Zhou, I thought just had a stellar start.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. I think he's awesome.
Yeah. Do you have any my only a lot of people thought that him coming in, Chinese money, pay driver, only going to be there for a year, but I don't know how you can have somebody like Nicholas Latifi in the F1 and not have Zhou.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, he's been performing well.
Yeah, he had he had points. He's gotten points.
Yeah, he's gotten points
2 times, I think. But I mean, Valtteri. I mean, he's got to feel so good. Valtteri does.
He has to feel so good about himself. Yeah,
being higher than the Mercedes. I'm sure he's higher than. Definitely Lewis in the driver's standings. George maybe.
So?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm almost certain, right?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it in a while. I mean, definitely. George has definitely got Bottas beat, but I don't know if Bottas is in between them or if he's lower than Lewis. I don't know.
That's a good. Yeah, you may be right. I mean, Lewis hasn't finished. Lewis finished on podium the first race.
Yeah.
When both the Red Bulls DNF'd.
Yeah.
But after that, I mean. He's been finishing 7th, 6th, 5th, somewhere in there. And I feel like Valtteri's consistently finished 5th or 6th every time. I feel like Lewis has just had a few worse. But anyway, I think Valtteri's getting the most out of that car.
Absolutely.
And I think he's
playing the role perfectly.
Yeah, and I think he's kind of shedding that perception of him that he can't race.
Yeah.
He used to be just everyone knew him as a good qualifier at Mercedes, but I think that he actually is racing well and passing and I think his actual driving skill, maybe not skill is the right word, but yeah, that he's doing better on track, passing and stuff like that. Yeah,
Valtteri's definitely. He found something.
Yeah.
He found something, some sort of motivation that's.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Helping him. Yeah, and also maybe just a change of pace. Kind of like a reset for him.
Yeah.
Where he's not having to live in this shadow.
Yeah. Yeah, and the.
Maybe they're treating him like a like a leader.
Yeah, and also there's less pressure.
Yeah.
And that could be part of it. Maybe, and also there could be some resentment from Valtteri towards Mercedes. And so when he doesn't have, because the knock on Valtteri was that if he didn't have a good qualifying or if he had a bad start, he couldn't make his way back through the field.
Yeah, he couldn't pass.
Yeah, he couldn't pass. But part of that might have been just, he was screw the team. Not screw the team, but he was okay, I'm not going to get a personal, if I'm not going to win the race, then which could help his stats, his personal stats.
Right.
He's I don't really care. F the team. I remember one time last year, it was at Zandvoort. Isn't that what's called? Zandvoort?
Zandvoort.
Yeah. And they needed Lewis to get the fastest lap. Well,
he was no.
Well, they both stopped. They both pitted at the very end of the race to get fresh, soft tires. Yeah. And they were Valtteri, please don't set. And he's you see fastest first sector.
Yeah.
And they're Valtteri, please abort. And then fastest second sector. And then he aborts the third in the third sector.
He's
but okay. Yeah, but I was just oh man, I wish he would have.
Yeah.
I wish he would have set that fastest lap. But anyways, so Alfa Romeo, I mean, are they the biggest, most improved from last season?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think easily.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, maybe Ferrari.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's true.
Like in terms of,
I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Most improved, maybe kind of close.
Yeah. I think the problem though, and they also have a Ferrari engine already. So that's part of it. But I think the thing with Ferrari though is that their position in the grid the past few years was artificial in a way because they were penalized because of some rule. Like it wasn't because they lacked like the money or the team or the or the technology or
resources.
They just made a mistake. They
just wanted to burn a little bit of oil in the fuel. And nobody will catch us.
Yeah.
They were wrong.
Yeah,
sorry, Tifosi.
Yeah, like their path, like that they took with their car was just illegal, and so they got penalized for it. Yeah. But yeah, so Alfa Romeo, most improved or second most improved?
Yeah, they're close. Definitely.
Okay, so man, we still have 4 more teams. McLaren,
yeah.
We kind of already talked about them earlier.
Yeah, Lando. We talked about Lando.
Lando he's a championship potential driver, right?
Yep, championship potential for sure.
Okay.
He's killer.
Yeah, so I don't think there's much to say about him. Like he's so consistent and he's so good.
Yeah, and he, I think it was last season actually, Lewis was behind him at one point and he like made that comment. He's like Lando's in front of me and like, man, this kid's awesome or something like that, And to
say that during a race, too.
Yeah, during a race, like from Lewis, what a compliment. And yeah, I definitely think like if he was I see him very much in the same field as Leclerc and George, which is funny because like that's like Albon, Leclerc, George, and Lando are like they're like this little group, and they're all so talented. It's wild.
It's weird to have that close of a group. And
friendship wise
and age wise
and performance wise, like wow, they're all so close.
Yeah, so. and so with Lando, I think obviously he's like you just said, he's a world championship contender in the right car. Okay, so Daniel, like this is it just got quiet. Like this is where it gets kind of weird because I am starting to feel very similar about Daniel as I do about Seb in a different way though, because I think like I don't know. I don't understand it because I wasn't a fan when Daniel was really excelling. Of course, he's shown spurts here and there, and like the win last year at Monza. Yeah. Like that was kind of like McLaren just had that freak straight line speed. Yeah.
I always think of Monaco, of him and the Red Bull. That was an incredible drive.
Really?
Just kind of a one-off performance. But killer.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let you kind of talk about Daniel because like where you think he is now and like his future, and because I don't know. He's like in like limbo right now. With like, if he doesn't start performing better,
he's out.
He's out, right?
Yeah. Well, he did this thing where he decidingly left Red Bull and went to Renault, and that kind of it's so sad to talk about, honestly, because he was doing well, I feel like, but he went to Renault and that kind of went to shits, and then went to McLaren, and I really I want McLaren to be back where they were. I really want them up there.
Well, because you like Lando, you like Daniel, you like Zach Brown.
Yeah, they're very Zach Brown is awesome.
Yeah, they're a very likable team.
He's awesome. And I don't know. He just he's been in McLaren and he just struggles. He just really struggles, I feel like. Yeah. I don't know if it's a
mental thing.
I don't know if it's a mental thing. I have no idea. He just, maybe it's a thing of him trying to live up to these young drivers, and he just doesn't, and then he gets down on himself. And
I don't know.
I watched this thing, and it was a comparison of a lap between Lando and Daniel. And they kind of went corner by corner at one of the races this season, and Daniel just like his method of attacking the corners was just like him and Lando have totally different methods of it, and I'm wondering if Daniel just has a hard time of adapting like
to the car,
his drive, to the car,
his
like,
driving style,
like
to the car.
Because obviously he had a hard time adapting to the McLaren last year, and then this is a whole new car this year, so maybe he's not very adaptable. That could be a thing because he was only fast in the Red Bull. I mean, he's fast in the other car. Like Daniel's not a scrub, but
no, he's not.
He's a race-winning driver. But yeah, so let's move on. Let's move on to Mercedes. Your boys. I like George Russell. I liked him at Williams. Of course, when he's an underdog, you want to root for him. For me, that was kind of the thing.
I was rooting for him at Williams as well.
I think you can't really ask more from George right now. Right?
No, he's killing it. I mean, he's been fortunate maybe twice this season
with the safety cars.
Yeah, with the safety cars, but his pace is incredible.
I mean, like not like at or even better than Lewis right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's and I actually watched a video about somebody broke down like, is George actually like outperforming Lewis right now, or is it more of a luck thing? And my personal opinion is that, you know, he has gotten lucky, but I think he's getting more out of the car right now. I really do.
And I think the thing that people need to remember is that like, we're not saying that in their prime, and they like, if they both have the same motivation, same car, same moment, that George is better than Lewis. Lewis just maybe his motivation isn't quite there with the car because the car isn't there.
Because the car's.
George, I've heard this theory that George might be used to dealing with a more difficult car than Lewis is. So George is having an easier time managing.
He's like, oh man, this is great.
Like for George, this is like a step up.
Right.
But
like George is like going into the race. He's like, I'm so glad that I'm not P17, and like this is fantastic. Like I'm up here, you know. And Lewis is like, I hate this. It sucks.
And George has a way better car. He just has a little bouncing. And he's like, I can deal with this. And then, but for Lewis, he's like, the car's a little bit worse than what I'm used to, and it's bouncing like shit. Like and like kind of like Seb, Lewis is very political. But also Lewis is like likes to enjoy himself too. Like I heard some stories about Miami that like he was kind of out late the night before FP1, like up to like 4 or 5 a.m. like like in New York, and had to like fly, and something like that. But like anyway, like yeah. Like, and I can't blame him.
He's got a lot of business dealings here, you know. He's got to capitalize on it.
Exactly. So those are the two drivers. The team itself, I think I could see Mercedes figuring it out before the end of the season, right?
Christian Horner thinks so. I watched an interview with him. He's a little scared.
I mean,
he's a little scared.
and Mercedes is doing pretty much everything right now, right? Like they're
making the tweaks. They're making the adjustments.
And but what they're capitalizing even still, like George was like second in the driver standings going into like the third or fourth race. Like they're not that far down. And if Red Bull has some more reliability issues, you know, it just takes like a little bit. And Mercedes is right back there.
I think they're, you know, it's funny because I think that they said they're half a second off pace a lap, which we all know in racing is like, you think
an
about
eternity.
half a second. But
it's eternity.
It's eternity.
When it comes to
one
racing.
lap, you know. They seem very Ferrari-esque as far as like last season. Like Mercedes seems to fit that spot now for me.
That better than the rest, but still nowhere near the top two.
Not top two. Not even close.
Okay, so I guess we go to Red Bull next. Because they are second right now, but might have the better car right now.
Absolutely. I think it's faster.
It's definitely faster.
Adrian Newey.
But we'll
the master.
Also though, we'll see because Ferrari hasn't really brought any like real big upgrades yet.
Right.
And Red Bull's been consistently adding like bits by bits. But the Red Bull, it's funny. It's kind of weird because last season, the Mercedes had the straight line speed and the Red Bulls were good around the corners.
Yeah.
And this year, it's Red Bull has a straight line speed and Ferrari has the corners. And I think, I'm hoping that it was on purpose because I think what they realized at the end of last season was if you have the speed on those straights.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe you might disagree with me, but I'm almost certain that like that's the advantage you want to have is on the straights with the DRS.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Because you're not going to overtake in the corners. Like, you know what I mean?
It's
like,
hard. It's tough. Yeah. It's really tough.
Like obviously you're gonna overtake on the corner. Obviously, that's where you're gonna overtake. But I mean, like in these tight twisty bits that you're faster in, you're not gonna overtake there.
In non-DRS zones.
Yeah,
it's hard to overtake.
Yeah. The battery is the battery's getting low. Okay, so Red Bull Checo is doing his part.
Yeah,
right.
He's doing great.
Yeah, I mean, nothing to complain about.
No, nothing to complain about there.
Max still himself. Championship.
Max has won every race that he's finished.
Yeah, that's a crazy stat.
Yeah,
that is absolutely crazy. He's still the guy. Like I think he's
still got it.
I think he's still got it. I think he's still like, take away the cars, I think he's still outperforming Charles a little bit.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Okay. And the team overall, like we said, the car is maybe the fastest.
Yeah, I think Adrian Newey like really made a work of art out of that car. It seems to me the Red Bull seems the most unique of all the cars. Like I look at it and I'm like, it just looks different. And I know Ferrari's got these crazy side pods that do this weird thing, but it looks very unique. I don't know what all's going on with it.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know what's going on with these new cars. Like outside of the teams, no one really understands everything that's going on. Yeah. Okay, so to the top,
Ferrari.
What we say might be the most improved team this year is Ferrari, and dude, their car was. Let's just start off with saying their car is beautiful.
Absolutely,
like,
it's beautiful.
You said the Red Bull is the most unique. The Ferrari is the most beautiful car.
Oh yeah,
on the grid.
That matte red.
Oh, and the curves.
Oh yeah.
I mean, shoot, dude.
It's beautiful.
It's
beautiful. Not a Ferrari.
Yeah, and so I think obviously the Ferrari car seems a little bit more. Man, I might be off on this, but it feels more. Consistent, maybe. Like the Red Bull seems a little bit more squirrely at times. The Ferrari seems more planted and seems more grounded and seems like it has a more solid base around it.
Yeah,
just doesn't have that like quick twitch like speed, like top end speed.
Right.
But I mean, I think that they've got a great starting point. They couldn't have started off better in this new era. Yeah, they're doing good. I think it'll be them and Red Bull probably fighting it out unless Mercedes makes some massive jump.
Yeah, I'm happy to see them up there again because it's sad to not see Ferrari up there, but I want the big three to battle out. You know, that's what I want to see. And but you know, the Red Bull seems like this technological masterpiece. And when I look at the new Ferrari, in a weird way, it reminds me of like an old Ferrari, like a Niki Lauda Ferrari that he would drive, you know, like this old school thing. Yeah. But yeah, it seems so Ferrari to me, if that makes sense. It's like if anybody's really into cars and you know what a Singer Porsche is, where they take old Porsches and they make them like really new and really fast, then you know what I'm talking about here. That's the analogy I'm going to make. It seems like a Singer version of a Ferrari almost. So just glad to see him up there.
No, yeah, me too. I think driver-wise, Charles is right up there with Max, like performing, you know.
They're fun to watch.
Charles hasn't messed up. Oh, well.
Yeah, messed up a little bit.
Yeah, he messed up a little bit at where was that at? I don't
know.
Where was that at?
Dude,
that last chicane.
Yeah.
Was it Australia? No, it wasn't Australia. Anyways, it wasn't Australia. But he went a little bit too far up on that curb. And that was his one mistake so far.
Dude, he launched it.
Yeah. And Max is catching up in the Drivers' Championship. But yeah, so that's kind of our first quarter of the year, review of everything.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Miami, but we're going on an hour and 20 minutes here. What I may do is like tomorrow, just film me talking about that and just put it like on the beginning or something, because like the battery's about to die and like my voice is like almost gone. And so, but I appreciate you coming and talking to me and like having a conversation, because I mean, we do this off camera all the time.
Oh yeah, we're texting during the race.
Yeah. And so it's good to get this on camera. So
all the excitement.
Yeah.
All the excitement. And for a Mercedes person and a Red Bull person to be friendly
and be this close to each other without throwing hands.
It's like, but I feel like we're both very understanding.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah. I'm not some like, dude, there's one guy on Twitter that I used to follow when I had Twitter. Was a Mercedes guy, dude. The most annoying, like imagine like just like never once could see the other side.
Yeah, like he's like, it's not the car at all.
Oh well,
100%, it's not the car. What are you talking about?
Well, and every time they came,
Lewis and Williams, he'll be first place.
Yeah, and like every time Max and Lewis came together last season, it was always Max's fault. Like even with Silverstone, was Max's fault. Like how that could be,
whatever.
But most annoying person in the whole world, and you're not that.
I'm very logical with like how I feel about F1. I feel like
and maybe we'll finish on this. Is I feel like real fans of this, like I feel like the way it should be is you're a F1 fan,
right?
Primarily, and then you have your alliances with any team
right.
Like, like if you're a real fan, you're an F1 fan first.
Yeah, you want the best for the sport.
Exactly. Right. You don't want Lewis Hamilton to keep winning every year.
Yeah.
Because you're a fan of Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah.
You want what's best for the sport, and if that means changing the regulations, and Lewis isn't at the top anymore,
so be it.
You want good racing. You want the sport to prosper.
Because for me, like I'm a big Lewis fan. I won't deny it. Yeah. I love the dude to death, but it gets boring, and for us, we both went to LSU. Yeah. Revealing a little bit of information here, but it's kind of like watching Alabama win.
Alabama football. Yeah, they just win every game, every year. They win the championship.
Yeah. And nobody likes them.
Exactly. But you're basically that for F1. Like just letting you know, like that's basically what you are.
Basically me.
And in 4 years, when Max has 5 championships, I will be that guy too, I guess. So, all right, guys. Well, it was good talking to y'all. It was good talking to you, Gage. I'm glad we got to have this conversation. So I appreciate y'all, and like and subscribe if y'all would like to.
You have to.
You have to. Well, okay. So Gage said it's mandatory.
Yep.
And I will see y'all after the next race. Peace.